Hello, everybody. This is Brian Ankney with Auto Success Magazine. I appreciate y'all taking the time out of your day to join us today for this webinar. Today, my guest is Armin Balian from Marketing by Appreciation, and we're going to talk about something that probably everybody on the line he thinks about, if not daily, very frequently, is how to increase sales and gross profit. But we're going to come at it from a different approach. We're going to come at it from customer appreciation. And of course, we're going to talk about topics like retaining customers, how to do it better. I know that there's a million people out there with an idea. Today, we're going to share several of them with you and some of the struggles and ways to overcome them that you're all facing daily in your showrooms. Before we get started, there's a couple things I'd like to go over. First of all, questions. If you look on the right side of your screen, if you're on a desktop or a tablet or somewhere around the perimeter of your screen, if you're using an Android or an Apple, the people on computers, you'll see where it says questions in your GoToWebinar pane. There's a plus sign right next to it. You click that plus, you type in your question, and then just submit it. Please submit them as we go. We are going to hold them all till the end, but we will get to them at the end. And please, submit them as we go. That way, we've got some ready to roll as soon as the webinar is finished. Now, if you're on your smartphone, depending on which device you have, you click that question mark that's in the perimeter. Type in your question, and some devices now you can just swipe to the right and push that question pane away. Others, you'll have to just look for an icon that looks like a monitor sitting on a desk, and you click that and it'll take you back to the webinar. Now, one more thing before we get started. If you haven't yet, please join Auto Success Webinars. It's a group on Facebook, and when you're on Facebook, you just go into the search bar at the top, type in Auto Success Webinars, will come up, click on it, ask to join, and once you're a member, it's a great place to find out about future webinars. You can also suggest topics, suggest speakers that you'd like to see, and more importantly, you're able to interact with each other and with our speakers. Almost every topic that I've ever had on one of these webinars is something that takes months to implement. These are not simple changes. So you're going to have successes and failures along the way, and I invite you to share those with each other and help each other, through the process. Well, at this point, I would like to introduce Armin Balian. Armin, please take us away.
Sure. Thank you, everyone, for joining me and hearing what we have, our ideas, our proven ideas over the years, and it's open for discussion, definitely. So I'd like to start with what the ideas are, and then at the end, please come in with questions, and hopefully we can have a pretty good discussion. Next slide, please. So we have a couple of thought-provoking statements here. Is the deck really stacked against you? And the customers know a lot more today than ever before, and we all know that. Our competition is giving away cars. Some dealers want to give away cars just because they got to get them off the lot or whatever reasoning. The internet definitely levels the playing field, as they call it, but gives a lot of information, and some of it misinformation, so people come in with ideas that may or may not be true just because they've seen it on the internet. It must be true. The factory keeps on shrinking margins and pushing more into the service department as opposed to making the money up front as well. It's getting harder and harder to get pre-owned inventory at an affordable price, and that partially has to do with the economics, with interest rates and so on. But at the end of the day, there's just not as much inventory out there as there used to be. And we always say, oh, we can't get good enough people on our sales floor, which may or may not hold true, but nonetheless, it is the perception. So with all these challenges, how can we increase sales and gross profit in a different type of competitive market, and very competitive market today than what it was in the past? Next slide, please. There's what's called hard deals and easy deals. When we say hard deal, it's those guys that come in and grind us, and the easy deals, they just come in, hey, I need a car, here's the money, yeah, thanks, goodbye. Which do you prefer? Do you want the guy that sits there for 8 hours, or the guy that's wants to come in and out in half an hour because they have better things to do? Which do you make more money on? Which do your sales people prefer? Do they prefer getting grinded? Probably not. Some of them love it, live for it, but most don't. Which do your salespeople make more money on? And how do you make more money on it? Is it just sell the car as it is and here's the financing, or here's the cash and goodbye? Or what are some of those other things that can be sold as add-ons, such as what the F&I department does, that can create a more profitable sale as opposed to the $200 to $400 margin that a lot of these cars have nowadays because of everything else that's changed in the industry. Do you think it's time to start attracting more easy deals to your showroom? Then how do we do that? Next slide, please. So are these all the same thing? And a lot of people think they are, but really they're like circles that have some areas crossing into each other, but they are really separate. Customer appreciation, customer retention, loyalty, cross-sale, and getting that data, getting that information. I know we're all drowning in data, but every data is different. Every survey is different, looking to achieve different things. The CSI survey from a dealer, a factory, has a different end result, or end result in mind, what it's supposed to achieve, as opposed to something that a dealer would do. One thing leads to another. Customer appreciation leads to retention, leads to loyalty, leads to cross sales. They're all leaders of one another, but they are not the same. And repeat and referral businesses are the easiest deals. So all those things have to happen if you want to get more. Next slide, please. So just to read this page, because then I'm going to go into a little more detail. Additional revenues and new clients. We are taught from a young age to say thank you when we are given something, yet we forget to do so in business. And that's something, folks, is the dollar. Okay. In today's business world, thanking a client is a lost art, but when you do, it will certainly wow your client. You go to a grocery store, you give them the money, and you thank them. That just does not make sense to me. They need to thank you. You chose to go into that store. Same thing in a car dealer. We need to thank the client. They chose to come to our store, not the other way around. The law of reciprocity is very powerful. Sending your customers thank you cards and gifts helps you use this law to achieve the results. And how many times do you get a gift or even a thank you card from someone that you purchased something from? It's a lost art. It used to be the case. I mean, if you remember back, people used to get toasters for opening accounts at a bank, and I'm really going back far. But it's those little things that is gone now. It's like you owe them to go to their place of business, and it's really the reverse. They owe you for visiting their business. And when that comes back into play, now you've opened the door to get certain things back, to get certain results. Next slide, please. One of the easiest things to do is send the client a gift and thank them for the business. Now, cookies are something simple, but they have the highest perceived value, especially if they're customized cookies or something that they can't get in the stores. Chocolate chip cookies are probably the worst thing you can send because everybody has a different perception of what a chocolate chip should be. So you want something different that wows them. The memory of scent and taste is the strongest memory. It's the most primal memory. And if you can associate yourself with that, then you will be memorable in their heads. It's like the meetings, the staff meetings that were catered or the red vines were given, as opposed to the ones that weren't. I'm sure right now you're remembering those meetings in your head, but you certainly don't remember any of the others. And when you customize the gift, such as putting their name, not just your name, getting your name on, you know, 1,000 units is not that difficult. Getting each of those units to have each customer's name is a little more of a touch, a huge touch. And when it's personalized to the individual, that item will not be easily thrown away and becomes a very good and strong advertising product that stays in the household or in the office. So it's very, very important to personalize, and really what it does is personalizes the thank you. Next slide, please. You want to send everyone some sort of a thank you package. Now, it could be a package of gift, it could be a thank you card that's personalized, but everyone needs to get a minimum level of appreciation. Now, granted, a lower priced car that you just probably lost money on may not make sense to send a $50 item, for example, but sending a card with requesting information in return is perfectly okay and really cost effective. And that information that you get back, just because you said thank you, first of all, you get a higher volume of information, more accurate information, and it's the information that now you can take and turn into future sales, or just recapture or get a second look in your F&I department. So that goes into the survey of what do you want to survey for? You want the CSI from the factory that just beats you up to not pay you your bonuses? Or do you want to capture information and the sentiment of the customer, demographics, reasons for what they did, and possible referrals right off the bat if you're referable, which is a whole different topic, but this is part of it. You know, when do you become referable? So you want to be able to collect that information and be able to make money on that. And of course, always put either BRM, business reply mail, or some sort of prepaid mailing. Do not ask them to put a stamp on it. Do not, another thing is, do not tell them to click on an email. People get scared of that stuff. But if you were to direct them to somewhere else or make a phone call to somewhere else, that can also work. But that's collecting information is an art in itself. Next slide, please. Now, from our experience, our customers, our dealerships achieve an average of 33% response rate. The survey you send should be customized, asking for sales data and referrals. It's important to utilize the data you collect to produce management reports on the results. When I spoke to a very, very well-known survey data company that's national in scope, and these guys don't do anything less than $500,000 engagements. When I asked them, I sat in front of the president for a couple of hours, and we had a very good conversation. And he said that they get about a 12% response rate. And so when I asked him, okay, of that 12%, what percentage is completed? So in other words, if you have 20 questions on there, what percentage of those questions are completed? And the answer was 20%. So really it's a 2.4% response rate, not even a 12%. What we've seen with different techniques and different ways of surveying, you can get very crucial data and have a higher response rate, such as 33% with better than 95% completion rate, so a net of 31% response rate. Now, it's extremely important that that information is then utilized properly. And the proper usage may be coaching, maybe trend analysis to understand what your customers are doing, why they're doing it, and to then build lists for future sales. You've already got the customer. You spent a, $500 to $1,000 acquiring that customer. There's really no need to spend another $500 to $1,000 acquiring the same customer. So now we're looking at reduction of customer acquisition cost. Next slide, please. We always talk about CRM and keeping in touch with customers, and there are so many good services out there that do it electronically and do it extremely well. That does not mean that you can't send a card or just even a postcard and an envelope or something of that nature, something physical. Yes, the cost is a little bit higher. However, the delete button is really easy to push. A card at least gets a 2-second look before, if they're not interested, they throw it away. But if you're sending a card to an existing client saying, hey, it's been a year since you bought your car. We love you. We'd love to see you back soon for another car. Or, gee, it's been 5 years that you bought your car. Come on in. Let's trade it in and get a new one. Just wanted to, out of no reason, just happy birthday. Here's a happy birthday card. Who sends a birthday card nowadays? All you get is a electronic card and delete, OPD. But something physical, people still appreciate that, and it brings you back to top of mind awareness, especially for getting referrals. And this should be systematic. I've been in sales myself. I've been in larger organizations where I had a cubicle. They would give me birthday cards or different cards and say, hey, send these out to people. And, you work there for 3 years, you got 3 stacks, one for every year, and it's basically no one sent them out. Not that we didn't want to, but sometimes you just don't have the time, or, it's a lot of effort. So that should be done automatically for you by someone else. And that way it's systematic, it's sent, you don't have to think about it, you just see the results. And you stay on top of people's minds. Next slide, please. Now, doing a lot of this yourself versus hiring a partner. With a good partner or a good company that you would partner with, you basically have to just provide some simple information, and they should be able to pick it up and do it themselves without your involvement from there. Where simple information would be name, address, phone number, and birthday. And if you were to try to do it yourself, okay, now I got to mail merge this. I have to have different Excel spreadsheets. First, I got to populate and organize those Excel spreadsheets on a regular basis. Then I got to mail merge it, put it on different cards, hope I have the right printer, right stock, right gift, right box, right this, right that. And it is extremely time consuming, and it gets to be as much as 3 times more costly, as opposed to a partner that's already set up to do this in a very efficient manner, and that's what they do. So it's important to not spend your time doing this, not waste money and resources, because at the end of the day, you have to sell your product. Let someone else who does it for a living do it for you, and it's much less costly, and it actually gets done efficiently. Next slide, please. So what's in it for me? You thank the client with a great gift, and that becomes a marketing piece. So the great gift has to be something that's personalized with their name on it. That tends to stick longer, far longer. You want to generate valuable data. Did they like you? Do they want to do business with you again? How did they find you? What else do they have? What other business can you potentially get from them? You may have these conversations, but you're not writing this down, so it's extremely important to get this later in a data format that then you can turn into marketing uh, and start to reduce your customer acquisition cost. You want to get that cross-sale opportunity and generate referrals. When I say cross-sale, it's the F&I department. There comes a point, it's called buyer fatigue. I'm sure you guys all have heard of that, where you could put a bar of gold in front of someone and say it's free, and they'll say, no, I don't want it. I'm just done. I just want to sign the thing and get the hell out of here. I don't want anything to do with this anymore. Just get me out of here. Yet a few days later, they're like, oh gosh, maybe I should have taken that. And they're kind of not up to calling you back, but what if you have a systematic way of reaching those people where they can say, yeah, maybe I should have gotten that extended warranty, and we all know how much that's worth. Or yeah, maybe I should have gotten those ski racks, or yeah, I should have gotten whatever else that your store, your dealership wants to promote in the F&I department. Sometimes they're just flat out not willing to swallow their pride, and they just need a very subtle method of approach, and them approaching you. Give it to them. Open that door. Generate more referrals. If they like you, they do business with you, they come to the service department, they like what they see, now they're prime for referrals, and that's the easiest and the cheapest form of business. You do all this, your F&I department sales will actually increase significantly. Next slide, please. So what's it going to cost to implement an appreciation program for your store? And better question is, what will it cost you if you don't? Customization will cost you less than you think and makes all the difference in the world to your customers. Avoid programs with minimum order amounts. You want a program that is right-sized for your dealerships. There's a lot of gift companies out there, promo companies out there, especially the promo companies, because they're mostly sales organizations. They're not manufacturers. And they will have minimums. They will have setup fees for every run. You got to order 500 of them, and they're not even customized to your customer's name on it. And it becomes cumbersome and a lot of money that's now stuck in inventory that you hope you can get rid of very, very quickly. But at the end of the day, it's still stock item. It's not personalized. And personalization does not need to cost that much, and it really doesn't. So, but it's just a matter of the process that a company will have. If they have the right process, they can easily personalize. If they don't have the right process, yeah, that's just not going to work, and it's going to cost you a lot more. Next slide, please. A good starting basic program. Thank you package with a survey. Package with customized tins of cookies, multiple follow-up cards. The customized tin of cookies, what that means is it's not the cookies that are customized, it's the tin. It has your name, it has your customer's name. Thank you, John from XYZ Motors. John gets that package. John is not going to throw that away. It's got his name on it. So, best thing that can happen is John gives it to little Timmy to put the Legos in, and every day that room is cleaned, Mommy or John sees your business name on there. Or they put the nuts and bolts and put it into the garage, or put the sewing kit in there and put it into the cupboard, and every time they're seeing your name, and that is the goal of that product. Of course, the cookies goes back to memory of scent and taste. You want the multiple follow-up cards. You don't want to hit them with 17 cards in 30 days, okay? And you don't want to hit them with 17 emails in 30 days. But you want that trickle, that timely, every 90 days, every 6 months, that little bit of a trickle, like, I'm here, we're here, we love you, and if you still love us, give us a name. If anyone loved the car, any of your friends, they just absolutely love the car, let us know who they are. We'll call them. You don't need to try to sell the car. That's our job. And little by little, you'll see that response coming in. I know our customers see it all the time, so it does work, but it has to be a trickle. all the time in a continuous trickle. Next slide. All right, so now we're at the point of questions. So Brian, if you can take some.
Yep, you got it. Everybody, this is Brian again. If you have some questions, please type them into the question bar. Depending on the device, it's going to be a little different. But yeah, please ask the questions now. We've got a few of them already in. Armin, should we really send gifts to some and not all customers based on vehicle or deal?
Selfishly, my answer is no. It should be the same all across. And reality is, the answer is no. It should be a similar amount or similar package across the board, because that customer is not only purchasing that vehicle, there's going to be other vehicles that they're going to purchase. So if they purchase, let's say they come in for a lower priced product, an entry-level vehicle for their 16, 17-year-old, but next time around they come in for a bigger vehicle and they see two different gifts, that may not go well either. So you want to have a level playing field and get the results that you're looking for, which is get that data back, get that survey back, get it tabulated, and be able to act on it.
Okay. What data should we ask for in the cards?
The data that we've seen is not necessarily what the CSI questions are from the factories. Those questions are meant for a different end result. The data that you should be collecting is really based on your local market, determining their behavior, determining what their thoughts are, how they like you as a dealer, and how they, you can't solve the brand issues or strengths. If a brand is strong or if a brand has issues, at the local level, at the dealer level, you can't fix that as much, but you can certainly fix your behavior, and that's what you want to gauge. At the same time, what other business, what else can you uncover from this customer that you can approach them in the future? Once a customer responds to a survey, they're open to hearing from you. And you should also figure out from that survey how they want to be approached in the future and for what are the hot buttons that they want. So that will help increase the ROI significantly.
All right. How many touches should we do each year?
Probably about, I would say about 4, maybe 5 works extremely well. Any less, you're not necessarily top of mind. Any more, it becomes overkill. And not necessarily surveying them on every single activity, every single touch. For example, they come in every time for a service, not necessarily sending a survey after every one of them, multiple surveys, multiple requests, go, we want more. No. Hey, how are you doing? Hey, happy birthday. Hey, how did we perform on this? It's been 1 year since you bought the car. A different reason, different business valid business reason every time, and that keeps them engaged as opposed to the same old every single time.
All right. What percentage of customers will give referrals when you send a gift?
That goes back to something that I touched on but didn't elaborate further, and that's referable. A very smart businessman once told me, he said, hey, if you want referrals, you have to be referable. And it's a very simple statement, yet very powerful statement. To answer that question, it really depends on your performance. And the first thing you got to do is become referable. Fix what the perception of the customer is that's wrong with you. Their perception is your reality. So you may think you're doing everything right, but if they're not looking at it that way, now you've got a problem. So first, fix yourself and make sure you become likable, you become referable. then referrals will start to come in. It's not easy. It takes time to build that, just like a skyscraper takes time to build and takes seconds to demolish. So it's something that's an ongoing process that has to happen. And the percentage that we see from our best performing customers, and we have different correlations within our surveys. We have different correlations of how certain scores are and what happens in the end result. We see upwards of 8 to 10% referrals, and we see sometimes down to 0.
All right, that's a lot. That's an impressive number. 8 to 10% of people send in a referral. That's great.
And that dealer has to keep that same perfection going at all times. A little bit slip in the perfection, and they go away. The referrals go away.
All right. We had another question here. Do gifts and cards help CSI?
Yes. Yes, they do. And it's a matter of timing. The CSI generally go out almost 15 to 30 days after the sale. There are certain car companies that get on the phone. Phone surveys have their own issues. A lot of times people don't want to necessarily waste time on the phone, and they just say, yeah, everything's great, okay, bye. And the guy that's sitting there dialing for dollars at $12 an hour, oh yeah, everything's fine, okay, you're completely satisfied. Well, are they completely satisfied just because they got you off the phone? So there's an issue with that as well, a twist. But if you're able to get that survey in front of your customer first, before the factory CSI, and uncover any issues that you may not be aware of, then you can possibly have the time, most likely have the time to resolve those issues before they respond to the factory survey. And the issue may be something simple, maybe some perception, maybe, gee, I was promised 2 keys and I got 1. I mean, something stupid like that should not affect your bonus. And maybe you just didn't know, it was an oversight, but that could cost you.
All right. Well, it looks like that is all the questions that we have for today. This is Brian Ankney again, everybody. I'd like to thank Armin for taking the time to share this information with us today, and I'd like to thank all of you for taking the time to join us. If you look on your screen right now, you can see Armin's contact information. Please feel free to reach out to him with any additional questions. And if there's a topic you'd like to see on a future webinar, please let me know. You can reach me through Auto Success Webinars. You can find me on Facebook, or you can send me an email. It's Brian, B-R-I-A-N, at autosuccessonline.com. Armin, is there anything else that you'd like to share with our listeners before we let them go today?
Yes. My email on there is it's A-Ballion, not M-Ballion.
Oh, shoot, you're right.
So it's A-Ballion at mba-co.com. Anyone who's interested in more details of what we do, how we help our customers, and how we can possibly help you, by all means, email me, call me. I'll be more than happy to go through details, provide samples of what we do and sample reports and so on, and just provide more information. If it happens to be a good fit for both of us, then great. I'd love to have all of you as customers. So.
All right, everybody. Well, this is Brian Ankney. Thank you for coming. I hope that you take the time to join us for future webinars. And, hey, happy selling. Have a great day. We'll see you soon. Goodbye.
Thank you.